Hello and welcome back to part 3. We are going to build two explosions, small and big. I've already got the sprites here. Explosion small, explosion big. You can get it from here. Okay, extract it from the sprite sheet. This one and this one. These are animations. Then, when you have done your sprites, you create the objects. Okay, I've already created the object here. Name your object, and since it's an animation, all you want to do is at the end of the animation you want to do something, that is to destroy this. If not, it will go on repeating. So add an event, and under other you have animation end, and you're going to destroy self. And we are going to do that for the explosion big. So create a new object, give it a sprite, add events, other, animation, and same thing, destroy self. We will create a layer for the enemy planes. Then we will build one enemy object, duplicate it, and change the sprites. We'll build a parent enemy, and the three other airplanes will be the child. In the parent, we'll have a create, end step, events, and collision with bullet, and you can see the actions there. And finally, we will attach the child to the parent. So let's make the new layer. Here are the sprites. You can capture it or extract it from the sprite sheet. And this is the object which I created. I created one object which will be duplicated. So we will create a new object, and this will be the parent enemy. There will be no sprites. Name it as O enemy. Add events, create events. Here we want to give it a direction and speed. It will be a vertical direction and a speed of 4. Event is going to be the end step. Here we want to check the position of the aircraft as it's moving down and find out whether it's at the bottom of the screen, after which we will put it to the top of the screen and it will carry on moving. So that will be along the vertical, which is the y variable. If it's greater than or equal to the room height plus 64, then you'll get it to jump to the top of the room at along the width, anywhere along the width of the room. So we'll give that a random number. And since we want it to be on top of the room and outside the top of the room, we will probably give it something like minus 64, 65, somewhere around there. You can adjust and use your own numbers. So now we have a collision with the bullet coming from the player's aircraft. All we have to do is just destroy the other, which is the bullet. And after that, we will create a small explosion. And don't forget to check the relative positions and the layer name. So once the enemy plane has been hit by the bullet, we will send the enemy plane to the bottom of the screen, which is below the room height. Once the plane is below the screen, it will then automatically jump to the top and it will carry on moving downward. So the appearance is the plane has been destroyed and then another plane appears from the top. I'm now duplicating my object enemy green. Just duplicate it instead of making new ones, just duplicate it. And then you go on to change the sprites. So we have a green, so we make an orange and a white plane. So all you have to do is just change the sprite and change the name of the object. Now we will do the parenting. Click on the parent button and click on the child and add accordingly. We will add 3, the green, the orange and the white. All the child will be adopting the events and actions of the parent. Next, we will go to the small explosion and set the speed of this explosion on condition. So in the create event, that is when you create the small explosion, you're going to check if this object is going to hit the parent enemy, and it has to be relative. If it's true, you will set the vertical speed to 4. Else, you will set the vertical speed to a different speed. You can copy and paste and make sure the position of your set speed action. And you change this vertical speed to 2. We will have to create a layer for the HUD and also the controller object to produce the HUD or the heads-up display. We will build a heads-up display, HUD, and in there you have the create event, draw event and step event, and we will do out the actions as listed here. We will make a new object and call it OController. This controller will be used to produce a heads-up display. It will also be used to produce the enemy aircraft during the game. But the first part, we are just going to create a HUD from this controller. You'll find the image on this website. It's called bottom GIF. Have a look at the sprite. I've already created the sprite here. Once you have downloaded it, create a sprite. And let's look at the dimension. Notice the height is 76. We will use this height to locate it on the game screen. We are going to create another new object and we call it OHUD, and we will assign the sprite that we created for the HUD. So we will make a new layer. We will call it Lay HUD. This is the layer on which you will place your HUD. In the create event for the HUD, the action that you will use is set score, and you will find this under instance variables. Set life, set health. The values have to be keyed in. And then there's one value that we want, it's called kills, and this will record the number of enemy planes that you shot down with your bullet. Collision of your plane with the enemy plane is not a kill. Only collision between bullets, your bullets, and the enemy plane is recorded as a kill. So under the controller, you have a create event, and you will use the action of create instance of a HUD. The X position will be 0. The Y position will be the room height minus the height of the HUD, which was 76. And you put it on the layer that you created earlier, lay HUD. And notice this is not relative. These are absolute values. Reposition the HUD layer to the very top. You do not want any object moving on the HUD player. That would look rather awkward. Then you can drag the O controller object into the room. When you run the game, when you fire a bullet at the enemy, you get an error message. Do you know where the error is? The reason for the error, you must select the HUD object because the kill variable was created in the HUD object.